All right, we're back. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Brian Craig Show podcast. All right, Mike in Louisiana, thanks for holding.
Yay. And what I was going to say is that these lawfare judges, particularly like this Clinton judge who probably is in her 70s, I don't know, I wouldn't know about that, but the Constitution says in the judiciary section that the Supreme Court and the Imperial Court judges will serve in times of good behavior.
Uh-huh.
All right? So how is what these lawfare people doing good behavior?
Yeah, good point, Mike. Yeah. Well, you can see they're all corrupt, right? Whether it's making rulings every time President Trump gives an order to this. These judges, these federal judges, they seem all to be corrupt.
Right. And if the Congress would get off their behinds and do their job, they can remove these judges, each and every one of them, for bad behavior.
Yeah.
And the Constitution does not say what good and bad behavior is. It just says good and bad behavior.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It doesn't say what it is. They can define it any way they want, and people won't be able to. Yeah, the liberals will argue with it and say, well, just because you don't like the judge doesn't mean it. Well, the Constitution doesn't say what it is and what it isn't. It just says good and bad behavior.
All right. Well, I appreciate the call, Mike. Yeah, Mike's right on the money. Here's the thing, okay? With what Donald Trump is going through, from the moment he went down the escalator to this Comey Letitia James decision that just came down from this corrupt Clinton-appointed federal judge, they're never going to leave Trump alone for the rest of his life. Even in 50 years when he's no longer with us, they're never going to leave Trump alone because they're sending a message. If you're not part of the club or compromised and owned under the control of the club, the permanent ruling class, you're not to be president. Don't you understand? That's the message they're sending. This is not just a message to President Trump. It's a message to others like Trump that are not a part of the political establishment. No matter how many billions of dollars you have, they're going to do everything they can do to stop you. I mean, what we're dealing with here with President Trump, with the judges is a coup. Like these members of Congress with the military coup they tried to get going. We have a judicial coup going against the executive branch, the presidency of the United States. And it's really scary that this has happened in our country. And it's been going on for a decade against President Trump. President Trump deserves our 100% support on everything he does, because look what he has to go through, right? They shot him. They arrested him multiple times. They broke into his house, everything they've done, and it will never end. But if you're part of the club and you play ball, then you're okay. Look at Obama. A lot of people that aren't in the know, that don't understand. Did you see what dropped about Obama today with the former governor of Illinois, Rod Blagojevich, was on with Tucker? I'm going to get into this in a moment. Obama didn't come out of nowhere. Right? Frank Marshall Davis, who basically raised him in Hawaii, was part of a Chicago cell. Frank Marshall Davis was best friends with Bill Ayers' parents. That's right. Valerie Jarrett's parents and Hillary Rodham Clinton's parents. Obama didn't come out of nowhere. And when he came up, they had him under control. Rod Blagojevich dropped some big stuff about Obama that I'm going to get to in just a few minutes. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Mike. I'm calling from Texas.
Hey, Mike, what's on your mind?
Well, one thing I noticed that liberals, Democrats all seem to have in common.
What's that?
Is they're all godless atheists. I mean, I don't like, I know people are all over the place for the most part on things, but it seems like every liberal I know is just soulless and godless and hateful, and they make fun of things like Charlie Kirk getting shot and a Texas Governor Abbott being in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
I mean, these people are the lowest of the low, and they're bonded by one thing: their hate for this country and their hate for white people that founded and colonized this country. That's what they're founded for. But like I say, it just blows my mind just how soulless and hateful they really are.
Well, you know what some of it is, because the late great, hold on everybody, I'm answering all the phones. The late great Rush Limbaugh talked about Democrats a lot, and he said all Democrats care about is power, right? But, because that's how they get the money and all of that. But everything the Democrats do, including all of these things Comey has done to President Trump, is for power. He's a threat to their power, right? So, by the way, thanks for the call. All the things you said was true, but there's a bigger picture. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from South Carolina. My name's Jenkins.
All right, Jenkins, you're on the air.
All right, so I just had something to say about the judges. I don't think the judges should be going against what the executive branch is doing. That's how we don't get any progress. We need to be giving more power to the executive branch. And the judge shouldn't be able to be overriding this stuff,
Well, what the judges are doing is, this judge's decision in the Comey Letitia James case can be appealed, and I'm guessing they're going to appeal it. This wasn't written in stone. This wasn't the Supreme Court. Really? Why you got to flush the toilet?
What?
Why'd you flush the toilet while you're talking to me? Come on. You're completely classless. I mean, thank you for your call. My goodness. Oh my goodness. There you go. Oh my goodness. Well, I imagine when I'm on the air in the mornings, because it's first thing in the morning, a lot of people in the bathroom, but they have the common decency to at least mute the phone when they flush the toilet. I guess he just forgot. So let me get into this with Blagojevich. He did this was amazing. Remember, he was the governor. He was the governor of Illinois when Obama got elected, and they sent him to prison because he didn't play ball, right? Remember, what was the name of the guy that he appointed to replace Obama in the Senate that they wouldn't seat? He was also a contestant on the Celebrity Apprentice. And he was on Tucker today and he had a very interesting story that he told. And it was about Obama and how Obama played ball. And I wanted to go through a little bit of this with you. And, Obama, we've never really gotten the story on everything Obama was about and did. But look at this. This, by the way, all these stories I go over are on my X, Brian Craig Show on X. Listen to this. Rod Blagojevich, and by the way, he personally knew Obama, right? Because he was the governor of Illinois. When he went to prison, there were two. He was the second Illinois governor put in prison at the same time. So Illinois is very corrupt. They had two governors in prison in Illinois at the same time. Blagojevich was one of them. Listen to this. This is what Blagojevich talked about today. The moment Obama won his Senate race in 2004, Michelle Obama demanded a $200,000 to $300,000 salary at either Northwestern or the University of Chicago Medical Center. Obama's team asked Governor Blagojevich personally to make the call to get her the job. See, that's the payoff. Well, one of the payoffs, maybe the first payoff. She got the job, $300,000 a year, right as Obama entered the Senate. And by the way, this is one of those jobs where there's no job to do, right? You just get the salary. At the same time, the Obamas bought a $750,000 mansion in Chicago. And the adjoining lot they couldn't afford was purchased by Tony Rezko, who's now a convicted felon, but a longtime friend and associate of Obama's. Blagojevich said it plainly. This was all on with Tucker. Obama wasn't the pure reformer. He played the same old Chicago machine politics. The media helped bury it. When the investigations came, Obama ran from Rezko, pretended he barely knew him, and left the man who carried him for years to rot in prison. And Blagojevich went on to say, Obama is one of the most selfish people in politics, and he isn't clean. Yeah, that's exactly right. And, the story, this is the deal, okay? When you play ball, they like the people like Obama, right? The reason they recruited Obama to be president is because he needed some things. Money. He didn't have a lot of money. So they could get him to play ball, which they did. And by playing ball, giving Michelle that $300,000 fake job and all that stuff, they own him. Everything he has today is given to him through political favors. He was a corrupt public official who is a very wealthy man today, all based on bribes, just like the Clintons. See, that's how they do it. Sometimes they're part of the ruling elite, like George H.W. Bush and then his son George W. Bush. They were part of the ruling elite. But others, like Obama and the Clintons, the Clintons didn't even own a house of their own until after they left the White House, right? They didn't own a house. They had no money. So that's the kind of people they like. These are the ones that they can control. They can't control Trump. He's his own man. He can't be bought. He's got plenty of money, right? Billions of dollars, and they can't control him. People like Trump aren't supposed to become president. And that's why they will never leave him alone. I mean, look at this thing that was exposed on X over the weekend. People are still talking about it, where all these accounts on X covering politics, both MAGA and Democrat and fake MAGA, a lot of them based in countries around the world. And I was watching the quartering today, and he was, they're in this for the money, and they make money, and, there's a lot of money in being MAGA, there's a lot of money in Trump politics. He's obsessed with money because he's always struggling with money, right? Any of you guys watch Jeremy at the quartering? He's always talking about his financial struggles, if you listen closely enough. No, this isn't about money. All these bot accounts that we've been seeing on X, it's about influence. It's about political influence, and it's the deep state. A lot of these bot accounts that are MAGA accounts on X that were saying, I voted for Trump 3 times, and he did, and then this happened, and I'm not with him anymore. These are deep state or foreign intelligence agencies, foreign governments, trying to influence and get narratives going in this country through these fake accounts. That's what's been going on with that. That's what was exposed. The way a lot of people are looking at this story about X is that MAGA doesn't have a following and it's all fake. Look at all these bots from Canada and from Asia and everything else. No, these bot accounts that were exposed on X over the weekend are of all political stripes. I know the media is acting like it's only MAGA. No, it's all political stripes. But it was done to influence the narrative. And X, the social media platform formerly known as Twitter, is where the dialogue for everything and the narratives are formed and pushed. And it's the Twitter mob has been back for quite some time, and we see that the Twitter mob is a bunch of bots that have been directed to influence public opinion in certain directions. And, we've got a lot of problems with Elon Musk because, his falling out. Although I got a call last week from a guy here on the program. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll get back to the calls in a bit. But I got a call last week from a guy here on the program, and he said that he doesn't think that Trump and Elon Musk really had a falling out. Remember, they were doing those terrorist attacks, the liberals, on the Tesla dealers and everything, and he thinks that the falling out was fake to save his company and to stop the terrorist attacks on the Tesla dealerships. That may or may not be true. I don't know. But I do know this. Elon Musk was at the state dinner with the Saudi prince last week, and this revealing of the fake bots on X that are involved in politics was a great favor to President Trump and the MAGA movement because they were exposed. And some people will say, he hurt Trump with that. No, he didn't. In fact, what Elon Musk did, if it damaged anyone, it damaged X and the credibility of X by showing that so many of these political accounts are foreign-based. And it's not done through VPNs or anything. These are bot farms put out there by the deep state. You're on
You should
the
not.
you're on the air. What's your name?
Jenkins, he had something to say.
Hold on a second here. Oh, we interrupted an interesting conversation. Hold on. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Okay, I thought that might be interesting, but I was wrong. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Is it me?
Sounds like you. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I heard what you said about Obama and the Clintons being corrupt, which I would agree with you on that. But like this whole Trump crypto thing doesn't give you any pause.
The Trump what?
The whole Trump crypto thing doesn't give you any pause.
The Trump crypto thing? No, I don't know what you mean by that.
Coin?
No, I own Trump coin.
Well, owning Trump coin as an American is one thing, but when foreigners buy it, and then he does foreign bidding.
How much of this? Foreigners can buy stocks on the stock exchange.
Yeah, we're buying stock on the stock exchange.
I don't understand. You Democrats have flooded this country with tens of millions of illegal foreigners.
I'm not a Democrat. I'm independent.
You're independently liberal. Come on.
I can agree with you. Agree with you.
You're a liberal. It's okay. I understand your embarrassment by that, but you're not MAGA. Okay? So you never I know exactly who and what you are, okay?
What are you talking about? I'm bringing up facts.
No, you're not bringing up facts. What I'm telling you is that the never Trumpers and you excuse me, I'm speaking. You liberals and never Trumpers brought tens of millions of illegals into this country to infiltrate every aspect of our society. We got this Mamdani in New York. We got Ilhan Omar. We've got a housing shortage and high rents because of the illegals you all brought over here. And now you're telling me your big issue is that some foreigners may have bought some Trump crypto coin? I mean, that's a joke.
That's not my big issue.
Well, that's the issue you brought up to me.
I'm juxtaposing it to what you brought up.
That's the issue you brought up to me.
Obama. No, you brought up Obama and Clinton being corrupt.
They are corrupt.
I agree with you. They were corrupt.
Well, tell me something that Donald Trump has done because he was bribed that was against the best interest of the United States. I can give you examples with Obama and Clinton.
The CEO of Binance helped put together the $2 billion deal to get Trump coin going with the Saudis.
No, excuse me. What I'm asking you is, tell me what Trump has done as president, using his presidential powers in the second term to do something that, excuse me, tell me something that President Trump... Do you know how to have a conversation? Stop talking and listen. I'm asking you a question.
You're interrupting me.
No, you're interrupting me. It's my show. It's my show. It's my show. You're interrupting me. You're accusing President Trump of being compromised and taking bribes through Trump coin. So give me an example of something he has done using the authority of the presidency in his second term that is an example of him doing something that he was bribed to do that was against the best interest of the United States. I can give you examples with Clinton and Obama, but give me an example of Trump first.
So are you saying that him getting pardoned, the people who paid Trump coin is not an example of him using his presidential powers?
A lot of people own Trump coin. Just because somebody owns Trump coin or stayed in a Trump hotel room, that's not a bribe. Let me give you an example. The Clintons took bribes, okay? Clintons took bribes through the Clinton Foundation. Hillary Clinton, okay. As a payoff, Hillary Clinton did this as an example. She gave the rights to 20% of the American uranium deposits here in the United States to Russia. It is true. It's 100% true. It did happen.
Not true. I've already read all the articles on this.
Well, no, I lived through it. It happened. All right. I'm not going to talk to gaslighters. Obama brought millions of Muslims into this country that have taken over Michigan and Minnesota and now New York City. So those are things that they did in exchange for their money.
Like some of the actual stuff they did.
Well, no, those are things they actually did. All right, I'm not going to talk to gaslighters that are denying the truth. I mean, that's happened. Hillary Clinton gave 20% of the U.S. uranium deposits to Russia when she was Secretary of State. That's a fact. They laundered it through a Canadian company, And that uranium is weaponized in Russian nuclear weapons that Putin has aimed right here at the United States today. And we know that Obama brought millions of Muslims into this country to fundamentally change our country, right? These are all factual things. And if you're going to deny the facts, you're just a gaslighter. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. It's the Brian Craig Show podcast. If you're on hold, hang in there. You know, the shutting down of the government had a great benefit of exposing the amount of fraud with the EBT, food stamp, SNAP benefits. Look at this guy. This guy is a perfectly healthy man. He's been receiving $2,800 a month in food stamps. Listen. Okay, you know, this whole thing with the SNAP, you know, there was a lot of things we learned from it. And one of the things we learned about SNAP is not just how many people were on it that are undeserving, but did you know that you could use SNAP at McDonald's, at fast food restaurants? I had no idea. You know, I've talked about this during the shutdown. When I was in high school, I worked at a grocery store, Publix here in Florida, and I was a stockman, and sometimes I would cashier on busy days on Saturdays. and people would come in with food stamps. Now, this was a long time ago. This was in the 80s when they actually had the stamps, right? It looked like Canadian money. It was like these stamps in different colors. They didn't have like the debit card they have now. And when you would ring things up on the cash register, it would give you two totals. It would give you the cash total and the food stamp total. You know, because not everything was covered by the food stamps. And sometimes they'd argue with you, and you have to get a manager and everything else. But one of the things I remember, there were some exceptions, but one of the things I remembered at the time, now again, this was in the 80s. Reagan was president at the time. Let's see. Yeah, Reagan was president when I started. And then H.W. Bush. You had the foods you could buy had to be things. Now again, I've obviously changed this since then, but you could only use the food stamps, with some exceptions, rare exceptions, on foods that you prepared. Like ready-made foods were not covered. As an example, if you went and bought a ready-made cooked chicken, that wasn't covered by food stamps. It had to be a chicken that you cooked. And there were reasons for that. You know, part of it obviously was a financial reason. You know, I mean, the other stuff is a luxury, right? It'd be stuff you cooked. And it's also less expensive, so you get more food for your money if you buy food you have to cook. Now, you know, it seems that a huge percentage of the fast food industry is dependent on EBT food stamps. But so is our largest retailer, which is Walmart. And this has really been a wake-up call. And that's why the Trump administration is making everyone on food stamp benefits reapply for very good reason. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Brian. Good afternoon. This is Nick out of Baltimore.
Hey, Nick. What's up?
The last caller you had exemplifies what's wrong in this country. I mean, you know, they won't stop talking when you're talking, and they're denying things that are, you know, that you present as factual.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line, you know. But I'm gonna drop this on you. This all's gonna go away once the president drops the hammer after the first of the year. And what I mean by that is the Insurrection Act. When you have these rogue judges, charges for Comey, when we know for a fact that the guy is corrupt.
Absolutely.
We know for a fact he threatened the president's life.
Yes.
We know that Obama did not give President or candidate Trump Secret Service protection until the very last minute. Mm-hmm. They're all involved in trying to, you know, do something nefarious to this president. And I'm just incensed by some of these callers, these seminar callers that call in. And I don't mean to complain about callers. You get a lot of great callers, Richie, and all the people that do call. You get some great callers from the West Coast.
You know, the seminar callers, like that last, some of them are just trolls and idiots. I get that, or liberal morons. But the last guy was a seminar caller, and a seminar caller, that's a term, and that was started by Rush Limbaugh, the great Rush. And those are callers, they're professional activists, and they're put up either by the Democrats or activist organizations to spread propaganda. And one thing, I really just started doing this last week. It's been a kind of a change. You know, I brought up to him two things that Obama did, right? And Hillary, right? The uranium that she sold to Russia. He says that's not true. I'm not going to debate with gaslighters. People that are saying things knowingly untrue and denying fact. I'm just not going to sit here and debate the issues with gas. I do not mind people calling me that are liberals who disagree, but everyone knows that Hillary Clinton gave 20% of the U.S. uranium to Putin through a Canadian company in exchange for a lot of money through the Clinton Foundation. And when you say that's not true, and that Obama brought millions of Muslims to the country under the radar that we didn't know about, and not only are we seeing that, if you remember, President Trump ran in the first term on the Muslim ban, which he enacted right in the beginning, if you remember. So these are factual things, and I'm not going to sit here and treat a seminar caller who's gaslighting me and trying to gaslight this audience and deny things that are 100% fact and tell me they're not true and didn't happen. I'm not going to do that.
Exactly. And the fact of the matter is that Hillary Clinton, 80 years ago, 90 years ago, 100 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 years by doing what she did, as you mentioned, undermined the national security of this country.
Correct.
As did President Obama, as did every other president, except for this president, who's actually working for this country. This is what makes me sick. Other than JFK, I'm going to tell you the truth, and I'm old enough to remember. Other than JFK, President Trump is the only president that has worked for this country. Robert F. Kennedy would have been a terrific president. That's why they did what they did to Robert F. Kennedy. Okay, I'm not going to mention the word, you know. I'm very careful because I'm so sick to death of what's going on in this country. But it's all going to be, I mean, I trust President Trump. I don't trust Marjorie Taylor Greene and all these other clowns who have made millions and millions and millions of dollars because that's what they care about. They don't care about the security of this country.
That's true.
You know, when you take an oath, when I worked for the federal government, I'll wrap in a second. When I worked for the federal government up here in Baltimore, downtown, and Social Security, we all took an oath. We took the same oath that they all take. And I took my oath seriously. These congressmen and senators apparently don't take their oath seriously. Some of them do. But, you know, and the thing about Mark Kelly is going to get court-martialed.
I hope so.
You know?
I hope so. I hope so. All right, appreciate the call. Nick from Baltimore. Yeah, you know, by the way, they reported today that, and you know, Marjorie Taylor Greene's resigning as of January, 2 days after her pension kicks in, right, her congressional pension. They are going to have a special election in Georgia. And I'm very curious how this plays out. Is Marjorie Taylor Greene going to campaign and endorse the candidate that Trump is not supporting, right? Trump said he was going to find a good candidate and primary her out. Well, she dropped out. So they must have had somebody in mind. What's Marjorie Taylor Greene going to do? Now, if you'd like to support all of my content, become a Patreon supporter. There's a link in the description of the episode. Or you can go directly to the website, patreon.com/Real Brian Craig Show. If you become a Patreon supporter, you get access to commercial-free editions of all of my podcast episodes. Plus, you get access to exclusive live streams available just to Patreon supporters on the Patreon platform. It's a troll-free zone, a very private chat that we have there. And if you're a top Patreon supporter, you get a live on-air thank you shout-out on every episode. And you get your name up on the screen here on YouTube. So the names you'll hear now are my top Patreon supporters. I want to thank SFjr, Christine, ETW, Chuck, Pamela, Nick, Wesley, Doris, Heather, David, Maria in Texas, Alice, LeeZep, Shawna, George, Brandon, John, Frank, Dale, Tina, David, Laura, Rob, Wes, Sue, Janice, Teresa, Irene, and Doris. These are my top Patreon supporters. Thank you all for your support. All right, we're going to take a quick break and be right back. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. It's the Brian Craig Show podcast. If you're on hold, hang in there. I just was meeting with George Colony today. I was over at his office in Fort Lauderdale. Nice office right down the street from the beach. Very nice. And, a lot of times people call. I got a call over the weekend, actually, from a guy in Seattle. And George was talking to me about this guy and some others. He's a renter. And he was telling me that he wanted to buy a house. He had a dream of buying a house. George Colony, if you're a renter, he was telling me today, he's going to call me on the radio tomorrow. We'll talk more about this then. But George Colony, a real estate guy, he was telling me that if you are a renter, he can get you into a home that you own. And guess what? What are you paying for your rent? $2,000 a month, $3,000 a month, somewhere in between, more? He can get you into your own home that you own for less than you're paying in rent. Not only that, right? You get to deduct that from your income taxes, your mortgage, right? So there's all kind of financial business. But if you are a renter and you would like to own your own home, whether it's a house, a condo, a townhome, you've always dreamed of it, you didn't think it was possible, call George Colony. He can help you get into a home. He can turn renters into owners. That's right. For less than you're paying in rent. Here's his number. This number rings directly to George Colony's cell phone, so you can call or text 954-801-7320. 954-801-7320. Give him a call. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Frederick, Alabama.
Yeah, Frederick. You're
on into
Okay, all right. You take care. All right, let's take another one. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's John from Wisconsin.
Hey,
right?
John, what's up? Oh, hold on, John. Hold on one second. I'm going to answer all these lines coming in. All right, go on, John. What's on your mind?
You were talking about the SNAP benefits for these people that are milking our system. I heard of one that was $23,000 in a SNAP card. I didn't even know how that could be. But I think these people that are on it should have to sign up every week. You and I have to get up and go to work every day. So if they have to get there and sign up every week,
Yeah.
That wouldn't be that big of a deal. Plus, you're a government child. We have to start looking at that. You shouldn't be drinking. You shouldn't be smoking cigarettes. No dope.
Well, years ago, I remember in the
No
90s,
lottery ticket.
in the 90s, when Newt Gingrich and the Republicans had the Contract for America, there was a lot of talk then, this was in the early 90s, of requiring welfare recipients to take drug tests, mandatory drug testing to receive welfare. And man, did the Democrats have a freak out over that. If you got enough money for drugs,
100%.
you don't need welfare.
Yeah, exactly. And these 180,000 people that they're collecting.
42 million. 42 million.
No, I'm talking about the dead people from the
Oh,
from
yes.
the red state.
Yes.
We need to find out who's okay in this, and they need to be held accountable for this.
Yeah, no doubt.
You're giving away our money, and who is getting that money? I'd like to know where that is too. There's no talk about the paper trail. Where did it go?
Someone's using it.
Disappeared.
Someone's getting it. Yeah.
Yeah, somebody's using it.
Well, that's why,
They're on
the food stamps, the Trump administration is cutting everyone's SNAP benefits off and requiring everyone to reapply.
that's a great thing.
Yeah.
That is a great thing, and there should be a limit on it. If you can collect for, 3 years and you're done, that's it.
Well, there's some people that are in need.
Some people.
There are some people that are in need.
Yep.
Anytime we talk about this, I don't want people to think that are truly in need and deserving of benefits to think we're talking about you. We're not. We're talking about these scammers. Yeah.
Yep.
Elderly.
Yeah, that's what I'm referring to also.
Yeah.
Is the scammers. Like the guy you had on there with video.
Oh my goodness, $2,800 a month?
Perfectly. He could do any job out there. Yeah. And he's collecting on us.
Yeah.
Hard-working taxpayers.
Exactly. I mean, why do you think I do more than one show today? This is my third podcast today, right?
I know. I see. I normally have to work, so I don't get to call in.
Yeah.
It interferes. It's that darn thing. I got a job. I mean.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly. It gets in the way of loafing, working.
It's in the way of everything. Yeah.
I'm lucky. I've got a good career, and what I do is a lot of fun, and I enjoy it. But it'd be nice if I could just do like one podcast a day.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
When
I'm
I
getting
see
to the retirement age, so
Exactly.
I'm going to be lucky here pretty quick.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen. Appreciate the call.
Thank you, Brian. Have a great day.
You too. All right. You too. Oh, yes. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Yes. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. Good afternoon. It's JJ from S.
Hey, JJ. What's up?
Well, I wanted to talk. Well, first, Brian, the new system you got. I usually call your show in the morning, or even like tonight. I would call with a landline. I'm on my cell phone right now, and the landline, it rings once, and then it goes to a fast busy. That happened a couple of times during the week, and I just figured, your show's getting crazy popular. I kind of expect this to happen, and your lines are full.
Yes, they are.
I think that there must be something with the. But I get through on my cell phone, but I don't get through on my landline.
Oh, I don't know. Oh, let me hold on one second while I answer all these lines that are coming in. Okay. I'm not. You know what? I'll tell you what. Email me your landline number and I'll take a look. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I just figured I'd give you enough.
No. Email. If you go to briancraigshow.com and you can email me directly there. I'm the only one that gets those emails. And email me your landline number and I'll take a look.
Brian. Okay, no worries. I'll do that. But I did want to, now that I mentioned that, I wanted to, your show, when we get these people that call in, I mean, there's some really silly people.
Yes.
But the guy that was talking about Uranium One, with Clinton, and he was saying, oh, that didn't happen. Well, if it didn't happen, then why did CFIUS approve it unanimously in 2010? If it didn't happen, why did they approve it? I mean, it's like 9-10 agencies. I mean, you got to have state, Homeland. I guess probably energy, commerce. Why did they all approve it if it didn't happen? Genius.
Yeah.
My God.
And the Clintons, and I'll ask you your opinion as a listener. I mean, I don't mind people that call in that disagree with me, give me grief, don't like me, hate Trump. That's fine. But when you're denying things that are factual as that, the uranium deal, what am I going to do? Spend 10 minutes telling him how it's real and he's still going to deny it? I'm not really tolerating gaslighters anymore. Because there's a difference between there's a difference between someone who doesn't know and someone who does know the truth, like he did and is in denial.
Yes, I believe that guy did know. I mean, that's what that's what, isn't it? Trying to figure, and you can't be a damn mind reader. Is this guy that stupid?
Mm-hmm.
Because Brian, we do have some stupid people in their country. Every country does. Not picking on the United States here. It's my country, and I love my country. But that's just kind of like an obvious one. But the thing is, Brian, a lot of these people. You ever hear of the telephone game? I think they call it Chinese whispers or Russian scandal or something, where you whisper something into somebody's ear and there's like 20 people in a line. One person starts it. It's called the telephone game.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was a month ago you had a caller, and he called in it was 3 times over the course of like a week or so, talking about something that was just so BS. And I'm like, but he really truly believed it.
Yes.
And I'm like, these people, a lot of these people, they're the last people in line in the telephone game. And the Democrats start off with a lie. They start off with a lie. By the time it gets to, the end, Donald Trump is, playing chess with Putin down there, downstairs eating Russian caviar. I mean, it gets.
By the way, JJ, your
but,
voice sounds different
you know
your voice sounds different in the afternoon than in the mornings. By the way, which is true with a lot of the callers.
It could be this,
I don't know why.
well, I'm awake.
You're awake.
More awake.
Yeah, I'm less awake. I'm more awake in the morning and less awake in the afternoon. A couple things, okay? One about Trump and crypto. I've never been big into crypto. You hear me, I have William Youngerman I talk to every day with gold and silver. And, and then I've got Jupiter Joe Thomas with annuities and things like that. But the reason the Trumps are in crypto, I went to this crypto event a couple weeks ago that Eric Trump was at with his crypto company. And he explained it, and it makes sense. When Trump left office, none of the banks would do business with the Trumps. The president had billions.
Baby banks.
Yeah. The president had billions of dollars in cash, and no bank would take it. They were being debanked. So the Trump family got involved in crypto so that they would be able to do business and live and do commerce if they got debanked again. Like these other people, like General Flynn and others have been debanked. Mike Lindell has been debanked. So that's why crypto is important. Yeah. It's because of these debanking people on the left, these tyrants.
Absolutely. It was out of necessity that he did that. I myself was very skeptical about crypto, but at the same time, when you have a government that, when you look at the banks, you would think that the banks would be much more independent, and yet they've become part of the swamp in a major way. And when they did that, they showed their hand. So there's like, we think something about somebody, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, very disappointing.
Oh.
But it's an example. It's an example of, to me, that's like the banks. You expect the banks. We have expectations. We Americans, we MAGA people, we have expectations of decency. And the problem is, when you get out, these evil people end up doing things that, like, wait a minute, what? What do you mean you debanked? You're not going to take my, I heard this from a lot of people. I mean, I was going to be involved.
This debanking thing, that's something we never heard of before 5 years ago. Never heard the term. It's almost like it's a new word, debank, right? Isn't it? I mean, have you ever heard of debanking before 6 years ago? I never heard of it.
Never heard of it. I had money, and banks loved business. I mean, the whole damn thing about Trump getting sued over, with his loans in New York is insane, because the Deutsche Bank, if Deutsche Bank didn't give him the weight, there's 4 or 5 other banks that he's a guaranteed moneymaker. When you get to a certain level like Trump, you want that business, because, the guy's a winner.
Well,
your money is, you're loaning money, you're going to make the interest.
What the Trumps understand is all of the Trumps, including Barron and Tiffany and Kai Trump, they're all going to be harassed for the rest of their lives until the establishment figures there's never going to be another Trump holding office. As long as there are Trumps out there that might run for Congress, want to be in the Senate or be a governor or a president, they're going to harass them. So they're involved in crypto, and by the way, Eric Trump's company is not the Trump coin. It's the American Bitcoin. I've got a hat behind me. I forgot the name of it. I got one of his hats. It's a red hat with his company logo on it, and he's got a big mining facility in Texas where he mines the crypto. It's so what Eric Trump's company is not the Trump coin. I don't know what the deal is with the Trump. I bought a little bit of the Trump coin just because it's Trump's and I want to own some of it. And I know that I understand that.
History.
Yeah, exactly. Most crypto's crooked. I get that, but it's not all crooked. There's not all of it's crooked, and you got
Well, that is part of the problem. A lot of it, one bad company bleeds over into the others. Everybody thinks they're all bad, and they're not all bad. The whole purpose of it is to not get caught not get debanked because you decided to tweet something. I really love Donald Trump and what he did for the country, and all of a sudden, I'm going to say, I'll let you know something. It's personal, but being that, you don't, I'm just JJ from Mass. I have a relative who had cancer. And she was going to, like, after the cancer treatment, I mean, she beat the cancer. But then she was in, like, a group where they would go and talk. And it was in Massachusetts. And she said something about, something positive about Trump. And everybody in that group turned on her. These are all
Really?
cancer survivors.
Wow.
They're supposed to be, and they all turned on her just because she said something positive about Trump. There's some really evil, whacked job, so out of the mind people out there. And that's why when you have crazy people that do stuff like that, those people are they're controlling the banks.
Yeah,
okay,
that's true.
Look at Peter Strzok. Look at Peter Strzok in the FBI, Brian.
Yeah, he's nuts.
Peter Strzok, look at his face
nuts.
and that crazy smile.
He's insane. He's completely insane. So's Comey. Comey's crazy too. Look at his eyes.
He's a picture. The 46, 47, what did he say now? 76, whatever the numbers he did. They're psychotic. And those two guys, stroking, they are representative of what the FBI, I mean, I believe there's a lot more than people think. I think the FBI was screwed up pretty bad before Obama was elected, and then he just finished the job. And he did the same thing. I think the DOJ is worse. And and plus you've got a bunch of judges, like we just had this judge toss out the charges with Comey and
right.
What is it, Letitia? So we've got these judges that are out there, and FBI agents playing hide and seek with the evidence.
Well, what I was talking about at the beginning of the program, what I was talking about is the secret government is the FBI. The deep state, everything, it's all the FBI is the leader of everything. I've come to realize with all this harassment. It's obvious.
Yeah.
Right.
In partnership to me, Brian, they're also flooded every agency, media, etc. They're all flooded.
Well, they've been running the country,
FBI and back and forth.
They've been running the country for 100 years. And the thing about who is the Ari Fleischer told a story in Trump's first term on Fox that blew my mind, okay? What was I forgot the name of the guy. Who was the guy with the FBI? McCabe, the guy that Trump fired right before his pension, McCabe. Yes. Ari Fleischer was... listen to this. Ari Fleischer was telling this story. It was very bizarre when Comey got fired. He was in a car being driven by FBI people. Being driven, and they were taking him somewhere for some government work he was doing. And this is when he was working for President Bush. And President Bush had said something negative about Comey. McCabe called, had them drop him off on the side of the street, wouldn't take him to his destination. He was working for President Bush. Wow. These are very petty people, and it's some type of weird club. And they're not to be messed with.
There's a lot of them. The Secret Service, the phones, Brian. I mean, evidence. I mean, they make up evidence with the fist to get a FISA warrant. They got DOJ lawyers, FBI lawyers changing evidence to get these warrants, and that's just the stuff we know. That's the stuff. It's like USAID. That's the one that we know.
Well, look
There's 1,000 more like that.
Look what happened
NGOs,
to
But the evidence, the biggest important thing, Brian. The one big important thing is the cell phones.
That's
cell phones that have all kinds of evidence on them. All of a sudden, the cell phones, they go in for maintenance, and they all get wiped clean.
Yeah.
With all the evidence that we need to prosecute people.
When I first saw this is when, oh boy, my mind. See, I'm a morning person. You're an afternoon person. What was the name of the UN weapons, UN weapons inspector that went to Iraq and during the build-up to the war, he said there were no WMDs. What was his name? Oh. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Oh, yes, I do.
Okay, now this guy, somebody in the chat will give me the name.
He's a bit crazy himself.
Okay, well, he is crazy, but listen to this guy, okay? When Bush, G.W. Bush, the build-up to the war in Iraq, because they had WMDs, the Bush-Cheney lie, I just had his name. It's on the tip of my tongue. It's driving me
He's
nuts.
on all the time. I see him.
He's
I
still
see him
around.
all the time on.
But he was a UN
He's
weapons.
still around. He was commenting on the.
He was a UN weapons
He was
inspector.
commenting on the Ukraine war.
All the
Ukraine,
time.
Russia. No, he was the one.
He was a UN weapons
I know what you're
inspector.
talking about,
He had been in Iraq many times, and he was on television saying there's no WMDs in Iraq. There's no WMDs in Iraq. This is when Bush and Cheney were trying to sell it, and they were sending Colin Powell to he was on, and he had the credibility of having been a UN weapons inspector. He was on CNN, MSNBC, Fox. There's no WMDs in Iraq. I've been there. I get up one morning to do my show prep. They find a bunch of like inappropriate things on his computer, and his house got raided, and then that was the end of him until many years later, and because he challenged the establishment, and that's what Trump has been doing.
Yeah,
I can't remember his name to save my life.
And you know what? As soon as I get off the phone with you, I'm going to lie because I know I can see his face.
I know, I can too, and I can almost say his name. I can almost say his name.
Usually people in the somebody listening knows it, but
well, listen, I'm going to run, but do me a favor. Do me a favor.
Anyway.
Email me your home number and your cell number, and then remind me tomorrow. I'll call you after the show, and I'll take care of your problem.
Okay.
All right? All right, take care, All right, let me, I'll take another call or two. What the heck? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Will Gaston from Anchorage.
Oh, by the way, Scott Ritter, somebody in the chat just gave me the name. Scott Ritter, yes, that's exactly who I was thinking of. Scott Ritter, UN Weapons. All right, what's your name again? I'm sorry.
That's okay. My name is Will from Anchorage.
All right, Anchorage, Alaska. What's on your mind?
Yeah, so I'm not here to tell you guys that you're a bunch of idiots or that the Biden people are a bunch of idiots, because honestly, I think every single one of you are absolutely insane. If you vote for Republicans or Democrats, then you are part of the problem. That's it. It's that simple. They all work for the same masters.
Really?
Trump did not drain the swamp. He joined the swamp.
Really? So, okay, so tell me. No, slow down. You can help me. Who is Trump's master?
The same people. Well, I mean, that just depends on what your theory is. Who controls the media? If that's who his master is. I can't tell you a name.
You don't know who? Well, then what organization? Who controls Trump?
I just answered your question.
Let me ask you, if he works for the same people, I know what you're going to say to this, but I'm not going to tip you off. If he works for the same people, why did they shoot him?
Why did they what?
Shoot him. If he works for the same people, why did they shoot him?
I'm sorry, I've got a little bit of delay. Why did they shoot him? Why did they shoot JFK?
That's not an answer. That's a question. If he works for the same people, why did they shoot him?
You're asking me to speculate. How the hell can I know?
Questions require a response, not another question. If he works for the same people, why did they arrest him?
What do you want me to do? Do you want me to speculate? Nobody knows why.
Your whole theory is speculation. If Trump worked for the same political establishment, they wouldn't have shot him.
I have evidence to prove what I'm saying. Now, let me answer this. Simple yes or no questions. Did Trump raise the debt ceiling, yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay, and did Obama raise the debt ceiling? And did Biden raise the debt ceiling?
When President Trump, in his first term, there was a global pandemic, and it involved some things. But I'm not going to talk to a crazy person who everything is he's got all the questions but no answers, right? And that's just not how I'm going to work. I want to share a couple sound bites here. This is one of the best. This clip I'm going to play is from one of the best news organizations in the world, certainly tops in the United Kingdom. It's GB News, and GB stands for Great Britain. And I'm kind of new to them. When President Trump was in Scotland recently, and he was holding court, if you remember, in the green chairs at his resort over there, they answered some questions. He answered some questions from the GB News reporter. They are very good. And this is a GB News, Great Britain News reporter talking to a former Antifa guy, and he dropped some good stuff. Listen.
Funny to them, they laugh about it.
See, that's so right. And those of you that are on the left that go around calling people Nazis and fascists, I played that clip for you, and you really should think about what you say and what you call people, and what the words that you're saying, what they actually mean. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air.
Hello?
Yeah, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm sorry. Layla, Los Angeles, California.
All right, Los Angeles. What's on your mind?
I was just curious with like the hyper fixation on like the whole trans thing.
Of what?
With
Of
really both parties, but why that's such a big
People's obsession with what?
point.
I didn't quite understand what you're saying.
Trans.
Who's obsessed with trans?
I feel like both parties.
Well, I'll tell you why Trump is. Why Trump's involved in that issue.
Okay.
Because the idea, you see, you've got some people that are not trans, but they're passing as trans so that they can.
Agree with that.
So let me finish. They can't make it in the boys' team, so they say they're trans, and then they join the girls' team, and then they beat all the records, and then they think they're big heroes and everything. Leah Thomas is the most famous, and that's a problem.
Yeah, and I disagree with Leah Thomas.
Yeah.
For example.
Yeah, President Trump thinks it's okay. You know, one of the biggest Trump supporters in the country is the most famous trans person, Caitlyn Jenner. Caitlyn Jenner is trans and supports Trump.
I'm not a fan of them.
Oh, I am. I grew up with Bruce Jenner. Yeah.
Well, Bruce or...
Well, there was no Kate when I was growing up. It was just Bruce. Okay, the Olympian and the actor and stuff and sportscaster, and later became Caitlyn. And Caitlyn Jenner has been a big supporter of President Trump and is MAGA, and that's the most famous transgendered person in the world. So if he's anti-trans, why does Caitlyn Jenner support him?
That's one trans person.
The most prominent one, though, the most famous, Kim Kardashian's stepfather.
Yeah.
Kanye West ex-father-in-law.
That doesn't equate to inherently being like, because she was against gay marriage. For example.
Well, if Trump was
against gay marriage,
if Trump hated transgendered people and was anti-transgender people, Caitlyn Jenner wouldn't be such a strong supporter.
Yeah.
And Caitlyn Jenner, who, when I was a kid growing up, when I was a boy, 5 years old, Bruce Jenner was the most famous Olympian that this country had ever had, right? Won all those medals in the Olympics. And yeah, and Caitlyn Jenner said, could you imagine, that was in the 1976 Olympics. He says, what would people have thought if I came back in 1980 as Caitlyn, and competed in the Olympics as a woman and won all the medals? What would people have thought if I did that in 1980 in Moscow? It wouldn't have been accepted. It would have been crazy.
Yeah, I think as far as like transports, I'm with that.
Okay.
With like I agree with you with that.
Okay.
Just because of bone density, like there's just, you can lose muscle mass, you can do whatever, but bone structure is still a thing.
Well, I'm just a little confused as to what you called me, and I'm just a little confused as to what your point is and why you called.
My point is more like spending $270 million on like anti-trans ads alone, and like
who is
and misinformation.
Who's spending? I'm not familiar with that.
The administration did.
Oh. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, they've ended the transgender in the ladies' sports, which is appropriate.
But there's more, for example, I'm against that. Trump has more sexual assault cases on him than there have been collegiate athletes.
No, he doesn't. There's no sexual assault cases against. No, there's no sexual assault cases against President Trump. Mm-mm. Nope, none. Not one. There isn't. What sexual assault case is he facing? There isn't. Who? What sexual assault case is he facing? Yeah.
I mean, I thought he was liable in like 1996 for.
He was no. A woman made E. Jean Carroll did not.
28 women have accused Donald Trump of various like sexual.
Well, people can accuse of anything. E. Jean Carroll. People can accuse of anything, but E. Jean Carroll made an accusation against Trump. She wouldn't say what year or even what decade it happened in.
Yeah, I mean.
So if she can't give you a year or.
A lot of the things.
Hold on. If she can't give you a year or even a decade, how can you mount a defense, an alibi that Donald Trump could have been in another part of the country when that happened? But she couldn't even say what year or decade it happened in.
Okay.
I mean, can you imagine somebody being sexually assaulted and not being able to remember the year it happened?
Yeah, I can.
The year?
As somebody who has been sexually assaulted.
And do you know what decade it happened? What decade did it?
I mean, there's studies on this.
Okay, what decade was it? What decade did it happen in?
Oh, decade I can tell you.
Well,
yeah.
E. Jean Carroll couldn't.
Yeah, that's what you're. Yeah.
So how could Donald Trump defend himself? And by the way, that wasn't a criminal case.
I'm a libertarian for the record.
Yeah. All right. Hey, listen. Welcome to the program, and thank you for your call. All right, let's take some more calls. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Once, twice. All right, you missed your chance. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, I just wanted to say, don't hang up on me, man. If you need a name calling just to contend with so you don't have to contend with what I have to say.
No, I was not interested in talking to you anymore. You're a crazy person.
How am I crazy? They call it Galileo, Jesus, and people like that.
Oh, really? You're in the
same.
same club as Galileo and Jesus?
No, I'm saying
that tells you right there you're crazy. Okay, that's why I let you go. Oh my goodness, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, my name's John, and I'm from Mississippi.
All right, John, what's on your mind?
I just wanted to provide something and see if you could provide a sounding board for my logical thinking. For something that I've been thinking about recently. When it comes to the recent appointment of Antifa as a terrorist organization, correct?
Yes.
The Democrats, the whole party, has expressed support for Antifa.
Well, they say that they've said that Antifa doesn't exist. It's just an idea.
And that's basically implicit support because they are not denouncing it. Yes?
Yeah, sure.
Now that would mean the Democratic Party is a terrorist organization or supporting us.
No, it doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that, but okay.
Further than this, my thinking is such. There are 75 million people in this last election who voted for the Democrats knowing this fact, knowing the Democrats supported a terrorist organization. Does this mean there are 75 million terrorists in our country?
No. No, your premise is off. Because a lot of Democrats are brainwashed. Okay? And they don't understand what you understand about Antifa.
And stupidity or ignorance of the law
is not a defense. I understand. You're another libertarian, right?
I voted Democrat in this last election, but I woke up.
Yeah, boy, you voted for Kamala Harris. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Well, I'm glad you woke up. No, listen. I'm glad you woke up. That's good. No, you're right about Antifa. President Trump's he's going to sign an order declaring the Muslim Brotherhood. Which I already thought the Muslim Brotherhood had that classification. I was surprised that they didn't. That was news to me. But there's a lot of Democrats in the squad that are associates of the Muslim Brotherhood. Sure.
Yeah, and with this being, since Democratic voters ultimately put these people into power, I believe it is responsible for America to go after the Democratic voters in this last election.
No, I don't think that any of that is true. Okay, now I just pulled something up off of X that this has not been confirmed. This is just on X. President Trump is considering removing his current chief of staff, Susie Wiles. This just dropped on X, and I don't know if that's true or not. I don't have any confirmation from the president or the White House on that right now. Let me see if there's anything. No, I'm not. I don't see anything about. Let me do a quick search. Boy, that would be interesting if that's true, because she's the most powerful woman in Washington. And if he were to remove her, he would have a very good reason. I'd like to know what that reason is. Let's see. I'm not seeing any on. I'm seeing people repeat the same thing, that Trump is thinking of replacing her, but I'm not seeing any positive confirmation of it. But oh my goodness. What I'm wondering is if that is true, if this is true, and again, we don't know that it's true yet. I'd have to hear from the president. Do you think it's related to the Comey and Letitia James? If it's true, is it because of the Comey and Letitia James cases being dismissed by this corrupt judge? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Adam from New York.
Hey, New York. What's up?
Not much. I agree with that last caller you had.
Okay, well, good. You guys can hang out. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, sir. My name is Devin, and I'm calling from Vegas.
All right, Devin in Vegas. What's on your mind?
Hey, I've been listening to you, and truthfully, I love what you have to say.
Well, thank you.
And to all those liberals out there, they need to wake up.
Mm-hmm.
And tell you the truth, Trump has done more in less than a year than both the Obama administration and the Biden administration put together.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have secured borders now, which is great because my parents were immigrants. They have to follow the policy the whole 9 yards.
Absolutely.
They were sent back to their home country, even though it's Canada. Everybody's like, oh, it's just Canada. No, it took them from 1963 to 1983 in order to get their citizenship.
Mm-hmm.
It takes time.
That it does. Yeah.
So, if you want to come here legally, please.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I got some more breaking news, so I'm going to move. I appreciate the call, but we got a lot of breaking news that is developing. Okay, now the Susie Wiles story is unconfirmed, so that is a rumor at this point on X. This is interesting. Caroline Leavitt was just on Fox News with Martha McCallum talking about the dismissal of the Comey and Letitia James charges. There we go. All right. So now that's our first statement from the White House on this. This is good. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, how you doing, Brian? I'm so excited. I've never. Oh man, this is so great. I just want to say I'm just loving all the things that Trump's doing. And I just want to tell you I'm so grateful for all the stuff you're doing. Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, man. I'm so grateful.
Yeah. What's your
get all the colored people out of America.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay. All right. There we go. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, I don't know. Will you give me a chance to speak this time? Or you're just going to keep calling everybody crazy?
I'm going to tell you.
Everybody's crazy that disagrees with you, right?
Hold on.
You just hang up on everybody that disagrees.
I have very few rules as far as calling.
You should have no problem dismantling my arguments.
I'm not interested in your. I'm not interested in
you.
you.
Listen to the argument
because I'm not interested.
You can't contend with them.
I'm not interested.
You can't contend with them.
I have very few rules on this program. Okay, but you're new, so you don't know the rules. And I'm just going to tell you, it's one call per show. Okay? One call.
No, I'm going to keep calling because until you take my response. That's not a...
No, you're not. You and I will, if you call me again, you and I will never talk again.
Well, then why don't you talk to me now? Why don't you
because
just
I'm
talk to me
not
right
interested.
Now? Then your listeners don't have to.
I'm not interested in talking to you.
Because you can't contend with my argument. That's
no,
why.
No,
just admit
your arguments. I'm not
exactly
interested.
Like liberals.
I'm not interested in your subject matter. Okay, and it's my show, and I decide. You can get your own show in Anchorage, Alaska, and you can talk about all these interesting things that you think that are so interesting that just can't be shot down. Okay, here we go. Now listen to this poll from CNN. Isn't that something? So don't buy any of this stuff that you hear in the news that MAGA's divided, MAGA's leaving Trump. His support is strong, his support is firm. And, it's what I've been talking about this week is I mentioned this a few times over the weekend and I'll mention it again now. I don't know a single MAGA person in my friends and family circle that has flipped against Trump ever. Once MAGA, always MAGA. See, that's why all these fake accounts that Elon Musk exposed, are from out of the country and everything else. All these disillusioned MAGA people are fake MAGA. That's it. And by the way, that lunatic that called me, he compared himself to Jesus and what was it, Galileo? So, I don't mind people disagreeing with me and everything else, but there's just a couple of rules, those of you that are new to the program. One, you can only call once per show, but I do 2 or 3 shows a day, right? But you can only call once per show. The other thing is this. Friday is open phones on the morning show. I call it Open MAGA Mike Friday. And on Friday's show, it's open phones. You can call in about any and everything on your mind. Okay? On every other show of the week, you got to call in about the subject matter that I'm discussing. And I don't explain the rules all the time or every day, but those are really basically it, right? As far as the rules go. Once per show, but I do at least 2 a day. And it's open phones on Friday morning show. You can call in about any and everything on your mind on Friday's show. But the other shows during the week, you got to call in about what I'm talking about. Okay? And you know what? I don't think that's a big ask. I got to have some rules on the program. It's not, here's the phone number, and random people from around the country or the world can call in and hijack the show. That's just not... that's not hosting a show, and that's not what I do here. If you're on hold, stand by. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 6 a.m., all right? My name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Thanks for listening. Take care. Make sure you subscribe.